Okay, here are my don'ts when it comes to dating apps. Um, don't post low quality selfies. Don't sweat the flake. Don't make your profile sound like a resume. We want to get to know you, but we don't want to make it sound like you're trying. We can also tell when you're trying too hard. Avoid groaners that like, you heard on the Bachelorette or in a weak profile write-up can just sabotage any great primary photo. Don't open with hey. Let's not. Can we not? Um, don't send copy and paste openers. Um, don't send messages containing spelling or grammatical errors. Now, granted, I'm not a big grammar Nazi whatsoever, but at some hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Sassy Sun and Bell. Well, you have this wonderful host here. I'm joking. I'm not that egotistical, I promise. Um, my name is Brittany. And today we're going to be talking about dating and dating apps. Okay, we all know trying to date in hookup culture is tiring and ridiculous. Like, guys, if you just want simple hookup, just say it. Don't start off a conversation with saying, "Hi, so what are you looking for?" I'm like, and you're like, "Oh, I want this and that," and you want that too, and you just want a simple hookup. Like, get over it. Just be straightforward. That's all we ever really ask. Um, welcome to back to Sassy Sun and Bell. This is episode 9. If you're new here, hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications. Also, please subscribe. Um, it's just, uh, we all know I've been single for 4 years now. I voluntarily chose that. I made a promise that the next guy I like will be the one that God picked out for me. I tried the whole dating apps things, and trust me, I have a few little segment on that later. But why don't we just really jump into it? We know dating is tiring and ridiculous, and yet somehow guys can just never be straightforward with people. Like some women too. I'm not saying that, but from I try to be as straightforward with the guys as I can. Like, listen, this is what I want, and when you just start talking about hooking up automatically, I'm like, no, I don't want that right now. Please. But anyway, let's talk about my type, okay? Look, I have no shame in admitting I'm a girl. I have a type. I blame the Jess Mariana effect. If girls you know, you know. I love a good bad boy. I'm human. What can I say? I love the dark hair, dark eyes. I love being funny, smart, kind. I find blonde hair guys, and blue eyed guys attracted to, but I don't know, they feel like a little too pretentious for me. With that being said, it's a little bit hypocritical considering I do love Logan Huntsberger and Conrad Hawkins. Oh my gosh. But also some of my favorite tropes is like the friends to lovers tropes and the enemies to lover tropes. I'm over the whole love triangle thing, if I'm being honest. But what are some requirements to date me? Well, you have to be a Christian. You must have a job. Look, here's the thing. I don't want it to be like some 5K, like some job where you can make like six figures or something. Have a job. Don't be a beggar, honestly. It's called, I, you're gonna say I'm being a bit of a prude or whatever, I, but I don't, but just have a job. It's not that hard. Okay, you have to be taller than me. Look, I'm short. I like me a tall king. What can I say? Like I'm a short queen, so I had to have a tall king. It just the pairing makes a lot of sense. I know there are some girls who do like the short king, but not this girl. You have to have a sense of humor. Come on, if you can't laugh at your own self every once in a while, then you're just being way too serious. Um, you must have a personality. Don't be so dull and lifelike, please. You must be single. Don't get on there and say, "Oh, well, I'm actually married or I actually have a girlfriend." Seriously. I'm not interested in being anybody's side piece. We're clearing that out now. What are some things to keep here's some things to keep in mind when dating me. I'm very independent. Like I'm hyper independent. Like I when I say that it's like I'll pay for my own meal. I don't mind getting anywhere on my own. Like I don't like I'm very self-sufficient when it comes to that. Like very independent, very stubborn, you name it. It takes a lot for me to trust you. I don't trust easily. And I've had some crap in my past, if I'm being honest, that has happened to me that we're not going to dive into. But it takes a lot for me to trust you, for me to call you, and make you part of my inner circle, honestly. I value honesty more than anything. Listen, if you're going to cheat, go ahead and cheat. Also, let's go back to my rules real quick. No cheating is also on my list. Like, just saying, like, I want someone who can help me drown out all the noise, especially after a long, hard day and everything. But, yeah. Anyway, I am a homebody. I have no shame in it. I am an introvert. And I don't think people realize that. My friends do. With that being said, I also enjoy a night out occasionally. Like this past weekend, I went to Whiskey Dick's in Murfreesboro after I got off work because I hadn't gone out in a while. And I was like, I just really wanted to go out for a while. I also don't drink. So please don't pressure me into drinking or saying I'm like um what's the word I'm looking for? A type of person who would like to drink every once in a while or enjoy a good glass of wine. I don't drink. It's just I come from a family of addicts and I've seen firsthand how alcohol and drugs and stuff affect your body. So no drinking is a rule for me. I don't care if you drink, but I'm not gonna drink, so don't pressure me into drinking. And I watch for red flags. So like, I literally do. If you get upset with me because I try to explain to you my social media detox and like my electronic free detox, that's on you. Like, I purposely have these social media detox weekdays and I also have my electronic free detox days where I need a moment to regather my thoughts and everything else. Um, I also like, I've seen, if I'm being honest, my mom's on her third marriage. My bio dad, he's been married twice, and my stepmother was a monster. Put it that way. I've seen firsthand how ugly divorce can be. Something kids should never like really have to see, really and truly. Like don't fight in front of children. It's not that hard. But also things for me is like I also notice how you act in public with other people is how you're gonna eventually act to me. And I do not want you acting like that to me eventually. So it's over like that, honestly. Um, what is the easiest ways to win a girl over? Well, for me, it's knowing the little things about me, like what's my favorite color? Where am I from? What am I allergic to? That's a big thing too. Honestly, if you don't want to kill me, there you go. Movies, TV shows, songs. Wow, what are my quirks? I admit it, I have quirks. I am deeply honest on that one that I do have quirks and everything. So, for example, I'm a true crime obsessed junkie, so what can I say? Um, but yeah, like I said, and I said this before, how you are with people is important to me. Like, if you're terrible to servers or doctor people who are doctors or whatever, or just anybody in general, that's how you're gonna eventually be toward me, and I don't want that whatsoever. Um, Now this was more of a like a fantasy, I guess, but it's talk to me like Derek Morgan talks to Penelope Garcia, and have a brain like Spencer Reid. Two easiest ways to win a girl over. Be yourself, honestly. A girl a woman loves it when a guy can be himself. Shoot your shot. Go ahead. Even if it's worth a no, say it, take the chance. Have the confidence. We love a guy with confidence. Now, I'm not saying be egotistical about it, but like have the confidence to ask us out. We want you to. Um, be the nice guy. Be a nice guy. Look, I know they say nice guys finish last, but it's also been my experience that some nice guys will break your heart. Um, even without them knowing. But be a nice guy. Like you don't have to be a complete douchebag, but you don't have to be a walkover either, so just be nice. And I also want to point out some things to look at and when to keep in mind when you're in hookup culture dating. Communicate clearly. Be upfront about whether you're looking for a casual hookup or something more serious from the beginning. Set boundaries. Establish clear boundaries regarding physical intimacy or emotional involvement, and respect the other person's boundaries as well. Consent is key. Always ensure the enthusiastic consent before engaging in any sexual activity. And I will say this again, silence is not consent. For those of you that have it in your mindset, oh, well, she didn't say no, but she didn't, but silence is not consent. Unless she physically tells you, it's not consent. It's not an understood consent. Silence is not consent. I stand by that statement. Manage expectations. Understand that nobody will, not everyone will be on the same page or in the same level as commitment as you. So be prepared to navigate different expectations. Emotional awareness. Be aware of your own emotions and how they might be affected by casual encounters. And don't pressure yourself to feel a certain way. Prioritize safety. Meet in public spaces, places. Use protection and trust your gut feeling. Ladies, I am a firm believer that you all need to know self defense. All women need to know some form of self defense. Jiu-jitsu, karate, pressure points in the human body. Look up your pressure points on the human body. You won't regret it. You'll thank me later. When you go out to a bar, there's like something you can get to put over your drink, so and you'll know if someone messed with it and everything. Respect others. Treat everyone like you want to be treated, even if it's just a casual encounter. Be okay with saying no. In the words of Mary Kay and Ashley Olsen, no is a complete sentence. Yes, I'm from that generation. I want that 90s love and in this unfortunate world of hookup culture. Um, and you have a right to decline any sexual activity you're not comfortable with. And if he can't respect that, that's on him. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If someone is unsure about your intentions, ask directly to avoid misunderstandings. Now, I also want to give you some red flags to look for. Excessive talking about exes. So, I literally, I once went on this blind date with a guy who literally told me I look just like his ex. Yeah, that's pretty much, not every girl wants to hear that when she's on a blind date with a guy. Keep in mind, I only did that so my friends would leave me alone about dating. I finally had to tell him, look, guys, quit setting me up on these blind dates, please. But he just kept bringing his ex up every time, and I was just like, yeah, dude, this isn't going anywhere. Um, Lack of respect for boundaries. Here's the thing. As someone who was a survivor of SA and abuse, um, and child abuse, I am very much like, I don't do the whole touchy stuff. Like, I'm not a touchy feely kind of person, and I know that makes it harder, but I'm in therapy for it. But still, don't judge, don't judge. But yeah, when I said boundaries, it's for a good reason. If you can't respect my boundaries, then that's on you. And don't try to gaslight me or manipulate me thinking I'm crazy on that one. Um, Rudeness to staff. I'll say it again. How they act like that, how they act to any form of staff member is how they're eventually going to act towards you. So don't be a jerk to them, because if he's a jerk to a waiter or a server or a nurse or whatever, he's eventually gonna turn like that on you. Um, the whole conversation is about them. I hate that kind of conversation. Now, granted, I'm not exactly an open book either, so you really have to dig for information. No common interest whatsoever. I'll be the first one to admit, I hate soccer. Don't judge me. I've tried watching it, but to me it's like basketball, but just with your feet. Somebody's gonna say, I'm more of a football person and baseball person than anything. But when there's no common interest whatsoever, it's kind of hard to find that common ground. Um, you prefer to engage with your phone. Look, here's the thing. If I'm on a date with you, I want you to respect the time that I took to come out here instead of being on your phone the whole time. Like, yeah. They ask too many questions. Now there's the thing. There is like trying to get to know someone. There's asking too many questions, like, and everything else. Um, Talk about sex. Look, here's the thing. Don't talk about sex on the first date. Please don't. Unless both of you are clear that's what you just want to do, just have a physical relationship, that's all it'll be it. But like, if your main goal is to have a companion in life, don't talk about sex on the first date. Like, it's not that hard. Um, Bad relationships with family, friends, and family. Now, I get like, here's the thing. I get life happens, and sometimes you have to cut those ties off for a reason, and sometimes it's the family or the friends, honestly. But it just gotta read the room, read the situation. Clearly distances himself from other men, like controlling behaviors, excessive jealousy, social isolation. Now I get it, like if you just don't crowds aren't your thing. I completely get that honestly, because I am an introvert and I try to avoid crowds as much as possible. If I'm being honest, I only get out because I have to make money and go live, in order to live. Um, but don't ask any questions awkwardly. I know sometimes it's a bit awkward, especially when it's a blind date. But obviously, incompatibility about politics. I have this rule that I don't discuss politics or religion with any of my friends or my friends or family because it's just going to create an argument, especially if we're on different sides of the pole on politics and everything else. Like, hear what your religion is, okay? Don't enforce. Like, here's the thing: if you're Catholic, you're Catholic. If you're Methodist, you're Methodist. If you're Baptist, you're Baptist. Um, and everything else. You're too romantic on the first date. Ugh. Huh. I know there's some nice guys out there who that's all they know is how to be romantic and stuff. They criticize their exes. Yeah. That eventually, if you become an ex, that's what they're gonna do to you. Um, Disrespectful behavior, gaslighting, inconsistent stories. It goes gross too soon. I was talking to this one guy, and let me tell you, like, as soon as he tells me, oh, I am actually looking for someone I want a commitment with, he starts getting all gross and all that and trying to get me to hook up with him and everything else. I'm like, yeah, no, I also once had a guy tell me he had this foot fetish. Yeah, yeah. I can imagine your face right now if you can imagine mine if you're listening. Lack of emotional support, lack of intelligence. Yeah. But I also get it. I can be emotional. I always tell people I'm emotionally void, like when it comes to that, but like I also have a heart and I actually do care. So I show my emotions different. Now, let's move on to dating apps. So, I recently got a guy on TikTok back in December before the whole TikTok ban that lasted for less than 24 hours. And I was talking to, and this message request popped up into my mind. And everything, and it basically goes, the guy goes, so what have you, after saying hi, he basically jumps right into it and says, so what are you looking forward to? So what are you looking for? I'm like, dude, I'm thinking to myself, dude, what the, what the actual, yeah, it's TikTok. No, but it's, I'm like, I'm just having fun on TikTok. So he goes, yeah, oh, that's pretty cool. Then tries to proceed me to convince me to date him. I'm like, dude, I'm just having fun on TikTok and I was just trying to be nice and entertain this conversation. But let me tell you my do's and don'ts on dating apps, okay? Be straight up. Like I said, if you just want a simple hookup, just tell me. And if I'm not that person, that's okay. My feelings aren't gonna be hurt by you. One bit on that one. And everything else. Um, have an actual bio. Believe me, women look at the bio. Like, if it's like, and it's like something that says I'm not good with bios, yeah, yeah, I get that. Those are very awkward too at the same time. Um, like respect boundaries. Like if we tell you we're not comfortable with that topic and you keep pressing for it, please just stop it. Be proactive. Um, like start the conversation off. Like, okay, be mindful of the red flags. I went over those red flags earlier. Um, Actually use a picture of yourself. Your feature photo is the first thing that people see, so let's actually see like hook interest instantly. Um, or we'll just move along. It's just that simple. Um, do show your face clearly in all your photos. Give your profile some personality. Alright, so I don't know what happened with my camera. It went frozen on me for a minute, but I guess it caught those words, so there you go. Anyway, back to my do's. Do open with a Pacific compliment. Do use pawns to break the ice. Do move things to call or video date ASAP. Trust me, we want to make sure we're not talking to a robot, we're not being catfish, nothing like that. And do flirt in your messages, honestly. If you're like me, I suck at flirting. I'll be the first to admit that. But here's my don'ts. And why is my laptop getting frozen again? Okay, here are my don'ts when it comes to dating apps. Um, don't post low quality selfies. Don't sweat the flake. Don't make your profile sound like a resume. We want to get to know you, but we don't want to make it sound like you're trying. We can also tell when you're trying too hard. Avoid groaners that like, you heard on the Bachelorette or an erect profile write-up can just sabotage any great primary photo. Don't open with hey. Let's not. Can we not? Um, don't send copy and paste openers. Um, don't send messages containing spelling or grammatical errors. Now, granted, I'm not a big grammar Nazi whatsoever, but at some point we've got to consider this alternatives. Okay, don't be afraid of ghosts. Um, don't be don't open a conversation with pet names. This irks me more than anything, especially when guys are like, "Hi, honey," or "Hi, gorgeous, how you look amazing," or some sort of weird pet name, and that just drives me crazy more than anything. And it might just be because too that I'm not a pet name kind of person. Honestly, like, I know it's like I'm really not, especially in life when when older gross men call you honey or sweetie. It's like, ugh, you know what I mean? It's like, ugh. I'm still getting chills thinking about that one. Don't be married or in a relationship. Nobody wants to be a side piece. Um, don't send back-to-back messages. Now, I also want to say some Reddit stories real quick. This one is from Cyango01, and it's basically the story. Um, we met up at a bar, had a couple of drinks, but I was getting a weird vibe from him, so I told him after like 30 minutes, I had to go after 30 minutes. I walked him to his train station, said goodbye, and then headed back to my street into a Target. And after I left Target, I went to Best Buy and then Starbucks. But when I walked to Starbucks, this dude was standing outside. He had been following me and the whole time our date ended like 2 hours ago at this point. Stalker. That's just weird. That's just the true crime part of me coming out, sorry. Okay, this next one is from Maud Loud. And this is made a date to meet at a local restaurant within walking distance. I get there and it's a guy who comes up to me with my name and I ask who he is and he says he's my Tinder match boyfriend. And I apologize thinking he's cheating, but he explains to me that I was talking to him the entire time. The two of them had a bet to see who would get a date with her profile first. Since he is here with me, he won and now she has to do whatever he wants for the day. He thanked me and left, so I set up a date with some random stranger and got laid as a result. Yeah, you can probably see my face right now. Now, this last one here is from, let me get down to it, Wobbing, Wobbling Gobbling 01. And this one's a bit of a long one, so bear with me. Um, After talking for 2 weeks on Tinder and then over text, I agreed to go on a date with this guy. He told me he was 6'7", around 270 pounds. I was like, okay, cool. So, I was out of town, but closer to his town at the time of the date, so he picked me up from the hotel I was staying at. And yeah, he was 6'7", but he was more like 400 pounds instead of 270. We had a good conversation the past 2 weeks, so I decided just to carry on with the date because maybe he was just had a broken scale. Always he picked at the restaurant, and it was a melting pot, um, which was basically a fondue style restaurant where you can cook the food at your table. Then he proceeded to order not just for him, but for me as well. Like, no, don't order my food for me, guys. Um, where you as well main size cocktails. He ordered it as I couldn't get a single word in edgewise. When I when I say something, he just cut me off, and I just stopped trying. While he was cooking some steak, one of his pieces fell off into the fondue, and I may or may not have thought it was mine or forked it up and ate it. Don't lie. This dude started screaming at me, saying, "Did you eat my piece of steak?" Loudly, where everyone could hear, and this went on for about 15 minutes, loudly yelling at me, and I just kept saying, "No, of course not," over and over until the manager had to come over and ask him to stop or force him to leave. By this time, we had like three cocktails, all ordered by him. When he ordered a fourth for us, because he was so ticked off, he missed his last bite of steak. I declined the fourth cocktail, saying I had enough and I didn't want another one that I had an early morning at work, and we probably should be going soon. The waitress brings over the checks, lays it down, and he just sits there for a good 5 to 10 minutes just staring at me. Not saying a word. He looks at me, then at the bill, then goes back like he was expecting me to pay. And look, don't get me wrong. I had offered to pay at least my half, but even offered to pay the whole check before on the date. But this time, when I didn't pick the place, when I ate, or even when I drank, I definitely wasn't offering to pay for it. And the bill ended up being like close to 300, and the whole time he was muttering under his breath how expensive I was and how he shouldn't have to pay since he didn't even get to eat all his food. His one bite of steak. He drove me back to my hotel and had audacity to ask if I was going to let him come up to my hotel room because he spent more than me on more than on any other hooker that expected some sex. And I ended up calling the hotel security to escort him off the premises. Red flag, red flag, red flag. Yeah. Now here's some red flags on a dating app we need to look out for. Fake profiles. When the profiles may not match the person's behavior or appearance. Too perfect, unclear information, refuses to video chat, and constant emergencies. Can they be successful? Yes, online dating can be successful, with studies showing that significant portions of marriages now begin through online dating apps. What are some key points to remember? It's a growing trend. Similar satisfaction levels, important factors for success. What are some potential challenges? Misrepresentation, a large pool of options, catfish. And I think the most famous success story on dating apps is the Jason and Kylie Kelsey. Honestly, they met on Tinder, and their marriages is going really well. Honestly, I do love Kylie's podcast though, so you should go check it out. But that is it for this episode. Join me next time, as who knows what else we'll be talking about. But I'll see you next time.